All right, welcome to the final reaction where guess what? We don't just do reactions, we also do some reviews. Nick here.
Gabe. Ooh, I'm. Oh man, I messed up. I was gonna say if that Watchmen that would make sense. Guy told Day that doesn't make sense. I haven't given myself my official name on the channel yet, so I gotta really think about that though, because once I don it, I don it. So since it's an American reaction channel, I don't know if I'm gonna go with something like comic book worthy or something like that.
You love Batman so much. Why not Gabe Wayne?
I was thinking like Gabe the Conqueror, like King the Conqueror, because that's probably gonna be the next Marvel or MCU villain or whatever. You got to go with Thanos because you're just evil in general.
People
All
have no
right.
idea how evil I can be. We are here to talk about WandaVision. Episode 4 dropped earlier today. And I say earlier today because millions of people have already watched it. I just finished it. Gabe finished it not too long ago. So we're here to talk about it. And real quick, since we haven't talked about the first 3 episodes on any channel, I'm just going to give you my opinion of how I felt about the first 3 episodes. I was not a fan. I did not lose faith in Marvel because they're Marvel. I mean, let's face it. But my biggest complaint was they're doing this 50s parody thing. I have no idea what's going on, and it's really not entertaining me. Those were my thoughts for the first 3 episodes. I watched them week by week because it's Marvel. I mean, give me a break. My son's been really enjoying it, but I had no idea what's going on, and I didn't find myself too entertained. At the end of the last episode, 3rd episode, it got a little interesting, but I still had so many questions. Gabe, what were your initial feelings the first 3 episodes?
Well, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this. Don't feel bad because you're not in. You're not in. As they would say, you're not out there by yourself. Okay, you are in company. A lot of people felt it was slow. One of the biggest comic book fans I know, the guy that got me into comic books, my brother Tone, he was like, not a fan, not a fan. The first 3 episodes, you know what I mean? But like you, he was watching it until it got better. And why did Marvel take this approach? I don't know. Honestly, they could have done episode 1 and 2, combined it for one episode, and that would have been just fine. You know what I'm saying? Then move directly into the color episode 2, and this would have been episode 3. As a showrunner, is probably what I would have done. But I'm feeling good about myself because, like I've mentioned on our other channels, and I've mentioned it in the past, I knew exactly who Wanda was, and I knew that the Scarlet Witch was going to be how they were going to bring back introduce, I should say, the mutants, which is a theory. Go check it out on our other channel, Boring Reviews. But it's a theory I had way back when, and really, to me, in Avengers Endgame, when she was able to go head to head with Thanos and almost destroy him, you know what I mean? Cousin, she had him. He's like, rain fire, because she's crushing him, bro. They really showed how powerful she was. And to me, this episode really just solidified. I saw all these theories out there on the internet. It was Mephisto. It was this person. It was that person. No, it was Wanda the whole time, which is what this episode gave us to. I'm loving it. I love being right. And I'm telling you, man, this is gonna. I tell you what's crazy though. This is, I think, what Marvel, and then that's where towards the end of this series, you're gonna have, okay, she's too powerful for Sword to control or Sword to do anything about it, and that's what's gonna bleed into the new Doctor Strange, which is gonna be Doctor Strange and what's that title? The multiverse of madness or whatnot. And he's going to have to combat Wanda because none of these guys can. Are you kidding me, bro? The Scarlet Witch, are you? Listen, she is super, super powerful, and they're just doing a variation of House of M, basically. And this episode really gave us a look like, oh, this is what's going on. She's the one controlling everything because she can, even though it's subconscious, kind of like in House of M, where she even forgot what she did. So in the storyline, House of M, which is one of my favorite comics, series other than Civil War, which they also had adapted for a film as well. But basically, she's become incredibly powerful. She's way too powerful. You've got the Fantastic Four and the Avengers, X-Men. Everybody doesn't know what to do with her. So they're like, look, we're either going to imprison her or kill her. At the same time, Magneto, her father, and Quicksilver, for whatever reason, I can't remember why they get into it, but he attacks him. So she wants to just have a world. Magneto has always wanted mutant kind to rule mankind. So she utters the words "no more mutants," where like 98% of all mutants lose their powers. And basically, I think my theory was that they're going to do the reverse in the MCU and have her create mutants in order to bring back Vision, who she lost because Vision was killed, obviously. And we even see some glimpse of that in this episode, man. But dude, I am like, this episode for me, I agree with you. The first 3 episodes were like, oh, okay. But this episode brought it up like 150% better, man. And I'm super excited for the remainder of the series.
Let me tell you what. I did not like the first 3 episodes. And another one of my complaints was, okay, if you're obviously they're setting something up. And I thought they were going to wait till like the 7th or 8th episode. They're setting something up. We're going to know what's going on. And we're all going to have that, oh, I get it. But then you bored me for 7 episodes. Here we have 4th episode. I was expecting nothing but the same. This 4th episode was absolutely fantastic. This is the MCU and the Marvel Universe I know and love. And I know people are going to say, it's not the MCU. This is television. Stop. This is the Avenger characters, okay? So this is Marvel doing Marvel things. Not only is it, we got the modern day, we get a little bit of information. Not only did it look cinematic, did it not, even though it was a TV show, it didn't look like a television show. I haven't seen Agents of Marvel. What's that called, right? Agents of whatever.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I haven't seen that show, right? But from the clips I've seen, it looks like a television show. This looks cinematic. This looks fantastic. And I got to correct you. It's not sword. It's sword. I'm just kidding. I have no idea. But anyways, that's just a dumb joke. So they bring back, and she's a doctor now, Darcy from the Thor films. And she's fantastic. And you can tell it's been a few years. You can tell she has grown wiser. She's still got the funny quips or whatever, but she knows what she's doing. And it was really cool to see that. You see Jimmy, his name Jimmy, Mr. Wu, the federal agent from Ant-Man. I mean, he had that whole chip scene where she's like, do you want one? Talking about kids. And he's like, yeah, I would love a little Jimmy, running around with his little badge. I just meant the chips. You want a chip? Oh, yeah, I'll take a chip. I mean, he's still doing his usual thing. It's absolutely hilarious. But before that, the biggest reveal we have going into it is that this girl that was pushed away from Wanda in the 3rd episode, she's Rambo's daughter. And not Rambo like Sylvester Stallone, Rambo from Captain Marvel. And she's a little girl who has a jacket, and she's like, cool, I want to be Captain Marvel, whatever she said. This is her all grown up. Right. And they have the whole blip and all that kind of stuff. It was just so cool to see the reverse blip. I don't know if we got any of that reverse snap in the movie. I can't remember if they had that in Endgame, so that was kind of cool. She's looking at her hands that come back together. I mean, they spared no expense. Right. This episode, before I give away everything, this episode was so much fun. It felt like a Marvel show. It felt like everything else. They were connecting everything from the first 3 episodes. I still say the first 3 episodes had some boring parts of it. Right. And I was waiting for them to say it once. They didn't really say it too much, but they could have easily excused that by saying, this is a weird, bad, boring remake of some 50s sitcom. That's all they had to say because it was boring. It was weird. I'm sure the pieces will all connect later on as the series goes on, but you're right. This episode was so much fun. I am completely on board right now. I can't wait for next week.
I mean, you talk about it, and the only things we've had post blip, right, were I think in Spider-Man Homecoming. No. What?
Far From Home,
right? When the players all of a sudden show back up on the field, and the people just show back up on the basketball court, stuff like that. But I thought that this was so interesting, where you got somebody's perspective that they were the ones that were snapped or blipped out, and then they come back to them. They like, oh, I just fell asleep for 20 minutes. They don't know what happened or whatnot. You come back 5 years later. Could you imagine the chaos? And there's so many ways Marvel can even go back and work these stories. They got so much content here. But the most important thing is, like Vision is dead. So you got to see that in this episode. She even saw it for a second. So she's the one controlling it. And even at the end, there was this line where she said, oh, it's okay. I got it under control. It's all under my control. So she said that almost like, okay, she is aware she's doing it, but she's trying to like deceive herself. Because again, she lost Vision. You knew she was going to snap at some point. And she lost her brother Pietro. Obviously, she lost Vision. And she's still not relatively young and learning her powers. You know what I'm saying? So, man, I just think that if this is what we have in store with Loki and even, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, awesome. Because I will say this, I'm sorry, all the Marvel stuff outside of, and I don't want to talk about the Netflix properties because they don't talk about it, even though there's rumors that, they're bringing back my boy Charlie Cox, that he's going to be Daredevil. He's been the best Daredevil. He's
Absolutely.
been the best Daredevil, so I'm hoping that they bring him in. But I'm talking about, like you said, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., it was all right. You know what I mean? I wasn't a big fan. It wasn't like, to me, it really didn't connect with the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe. You know what I'm saying? They had some cool stuff. Later on, we get some Ghost Rider in there, but still, you know what I mean? It's not Marvel Cinematic Universe worthy. You know what I mean? They make a couple of little connections here and there, and then all the other shows that, I'm sorry, the train wreck that was Trainwreck. I call it an absolute train wreck, which was the Inhumans. They should never even admit that was part of the Marvel Cinematic, but that was Kevin Feige. That happened under his watch, okay? How did that happen? Now, there was rumors that was supposed to become a movie. He kind of said, nah, I don't want no parts of this. That's why they made it as a TV show. But remember, first
they still released it in the theater, yep.
Yeah, the 2 in the theaters, but I'm telling you,
I still have not seen it because I assume that they just decanonized that as soon as all the bad press came out.
That can't be canon, bro. That better not be canon. I'm telling you, that was atrocious. That was atrocious, bro. So I'm like, oh. So I was still a little leery with these shows, right? Until I actually got the property, especially after the first 3 episodes. In the back of my mind, I was like, oh man, Marvel. Oh, don't let this be another Inhumans. You know what I mean? But it's not another Inhumans, guys. And again, they told us all the information we need to know. Wanda is losing it. She created her own reality. Vision is still dead. Reverse snap. Monica Rambeau. So they've caught us up to speed. What's going to happen? And then what is it's 8 episodes or 9, Nick? I can't remember.
I would assume it's 8 episodes. That'd be cool if it was 9. The biggest question I have right now is what set her off? What set her off in this town of Westview? You had those cops like there is no Westview. Right. From Eastview. There is no Westview, and like, oh, these guys are a bunch of weirdos. But then again, like, okay, what happened? Is it really all her imagination? She's affecting the space inside a different dimension and the space on the outside. What made her, no pun intended, but snap like that where that happened? The interesting thing is you're just talking about this or that. She lost Quicksilver from Ultron, right, as he was fighting the Avengers. Right. She loses Vision against Thanos as he's fighting the Avengers, right? Right. It's going to get to a certain point where she herself is going to snap like she did in the comics. And she may go after the Avengers because she might put pieces together and she might say, every time I come to help you out, someone I love dies. I have no one else. If they give her some kind of love interest, I don't mean romantic. I just mean like a good friend. Maybe the Rambo daughter, whatever it is, someone that she cares about, and then something happens like in Avengers 5, I could see her be like, no, I'm not going to help you guys out because this person I guarantee is going to die, and I will do anything to protect that from happening again. Who knows? At the same time, you can go with the Vision storyline, and I don't think it's going to happen in this season, but maybe in the films where she manages somehow by breaking some moral code or whatever, bringing him back. And then she's going to protect at nothing, like a mother protecting her babe. There's no one going to come next. It's going to be really, really interesting. I'm curious how dark this show is willing to go. It was cool in this episode to see things connect. We were watching the guy in the hazmat suit go down the manhole. And my son Jackson's like, I thought he was in a beekeeper suit. In the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, foolish kid. It was always the hazmat. And then we see him when he goes in there, it transforms back to the beekeeper because it's in that day and age. The drone that goes in. There's so many cool, different little connections, this or that. It's sad to hear that Rambo, the mom, she got cancer a few times. I wonder if that has something to do with her going into space and being with Captain Marvel. Who knows? Right. But there's just so many different places this show can go. And as this episode was going on, it was getting better and better and better that I was completely bought in. I completely have full faith in Marvel and whatever individual people are running the show. And it was just so much fun to watch. We didn't get a lot of Wanda in this one. We didn't get a lot of Vision in this one, but they did the recap. Now, here's a question, Gabe. Do you feel like with this episode doing the recap and the connection with the modern day, and the first 3 episodes keeping us kind of in the dark and in the lurch and not really knowing what's going on. Do you feel, in your opinion, that paid off? Because it was all to be done to build mystery and intrigue. Or do you think it was that reveal kind of fell flat where we could have had maybe a few more snippets, not obvious, like this is what's going on,
right?
But a few more snippets in each episode where it wasn't completely like, what is happening in this show?
I think it paid off with the except, like I said, you could have combined episode 1 and 2 to one episode. And remember, these are only like 20 plus minutes, right? So you could have had like a 40 plus minute episode and that would have been fine. But I think it did pay off because you got to see everything from the drone, how it went in and it turned into the old school drone, to, like you said, the man in the beekeeper suit, to how Monica Rambeau actually got in there in the first place. I think even all the little Easter eggs. It was Jimmy Woo who was Wanda, we're here to help you. You know what I mean? Over the radio. So, and of course, who's going to figure it out? Like you said, Darcy. So I think it did pay off. And I'm interested to talk to my community people. Let us know in the chat as well if you guys think it paid off. But I think it definitely paid off. And bro, I'm excited because now I'm like, okay, I want to see Loki. I want to see Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But I was worried because the only thing we had seen that was not part of the movies as far as the Marvel Cinematic Universe is concerned, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Agent Carter, which were, again, they were okay, but they weren't, cinema quality, you know what I mean? They weren't Disney Plus quality. And then, of course, Inhumans, which I was like, Inhumans. I bet you they just want to blip if Kevin Feige would snap Inhumans, just, you know what I mean?
Thanos, we'll take you out of imprisonment if you can just take care of one thing for us.
Oh my God, man. It was that bad. It was that bad.
Absolutely. I agree with you. This is a fantastic show. I'm so excited to go forward and see what happens. I give credit to the people that loved it for what it was the first 3 episodes. I still don't. I can rewatch it now to see those little Easter eggs and those connections come in, which is really cool. But I love this episode. It was absolutely fantastic. I'm hoping that the next episode is just as good. I just want to end by saying I like the humor too, because it's so funny when Darcy she has the TV. She says, "Get me an old TV, something that's not flat." And she gets a TV and she finds that signal, and they're just sitting there like, I mean, just the thought of the audacity of, are those 2 Avengers? Are they like in a black and white TV show? Is this a sitcom? I mean, it's just such bananas, that concept. And to me, that just cracks me up. I think that's brilliant.
That's why it paid off. And to your point earlier, right? No spoil. I mean, obviously everything's spoilers, really. But absolutely. All right, the kids, Wicked and Speed. All right, the 2 twins. You want to know what's going to set her off over the edge? Listen, I don't care what you say, dream or not, alternate reality or not. Mother, those aren't her kids. You know what I mean? That's when she's going to snap and use it. She's going to do everything she can to protect those kids. And they're going to realize, we can't handle Wanda. What are you kidding me, bro? And you're going to have to bring in Doctor Strange, which, spoiler alert, he can't handle her either. You know what I mean? Like, yo, I told you during Avengers Endgame, the Scarlet Witch, and at that point she still wasn't using her full potential, is one of the most powerful beings in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, period. You know what I mean? Like, they underpowered her for how powerful she really, was in the comic books and how powerful she grew to become. So, man, I'm excited to see what happens. And I would just say, I love how they're giving us everything, because Nick, we're not going to be bored for a while, because right after WandaVision, then we get it's the Winter Soldier, right? Falcon and the Winter Soldier in March.
I think that one's the next one.
That one's in March. Sure. Then we're supposed to be getting Loki, and Marvel. I don't care what happens this year. You better drop Black Widow. You don't got a choice. How much longer is it going to be on the shelf until it's not relevant anymore? You don't got a choice. Make it happen, Marvel. He's like, we need $1 billion. We need $1 billion.
$1 billion. Listen, last thing I want to say, I know I already said that once, but maybe the Ancient One, Time Stone, who knows? The Ancient One can be summoned. Maybe she can handle some of Scarlet Witch's power. At least have a conversation with her, because we know the Ancient One, when she was still living, she was able to use some of that dark magic. Guys, let us know what you think. I think our comments on these first 4 episodes is longer than the last episode was, but that's how we do it here at the Final Reaction. Please do us a huge favor. If you're new here, if you stumbled upon us, go ahead and like and subscribe. Definitely subscribe to the channel. And, let's build this final reaction community up. Thank you so much for watching this. And until next time,
this is the way.